This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Philly Sports Guy show. Today is Monday, October 3rd, and there is so much to get into today that I'm going to go right into it, starting with, of course, our favorite, the Birds, the only team still undefeated, 4-0. And we took on an old friend, Doug Peterson, yesterday, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I tell you, it obviously rained yesterday, as everybody saw. It poured. It was like somebody turned a faucet on all day long. And of course, when after the game is over, the rain stopped for a little bit, at least to get everybody out of the stadium. But it was a lot of fun out there. It was like everybody was soggy, everybody was feeling it, and the Birds took care of business. Although it started off a little funny. It's obviously. Uh, Jacksonville came in looking strong. Doug Peterson had his first two drives scripted. And I tell you, the one thing that we can remember from Doug Peterson is that he really did well with the scripted plays. And it's still no exception here. Jacksonville was able to take care of business and go right down the field. Like I said, the first couple of drives. It wasn't the first drives. Obviously, we got an interception on our first drive, and then that second drive they went down there and scored a touchdown. Wind up leading 14-0 at one point, and it was the first time that the Eagles had been down all season long. So you knew it was bound to happen. And like I said, Dougie P comes in there. That first interception on that first drive by us, obviously Gainwell missed the ball, slipped out of his hands and popped right in. The pass was a little bit high. Of course, that ball being as slick as it was, went right into defenders' hands, and they ran it back 58 yards for a touchdown. It was one of those things where it's like, all right, yeah, we'll let that one slide. And then the next drive, they went out there and they wind up turning the ball over on downs. I think it was. Let me make sure. I want to say that right on our second drive of the game, or did we punt that away? Okay, we punted that one away after 5 plays. We went about 18 yards. Punted it away, and they went down and scored a touchdown. And like I said, they're up 14-0. And we're like, rain, not good. But the Birds come back. They start doing the things that they know how to do best. I literally the next drive we went 38 yards and we're done on downs. And then the next three drive, touchdown, 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 drives of 62, 66, and 35 yards after the turnover. Let's talk about some of the numbers of today. Jalen Hurts, 16 for 25, 204 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception, 72.8 passer rating, and 38 rushing yards and a touchdown. Again, one of those touchdowns where he literally bullied his way into the end zone, carrying a couple of defenders in there. Got that touchdown on a fourth, by the way. So the Eagles went pretty well on fourth down. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But the other big standout was Miles Sanders. 27 touches, 134 yards, and 2 touchdowns. His best day as a Philadelphia Eagle. Also caught the ball for 22 more yards. So literally 156 yards of total offense by him. That was that almost beats that. He had more yardage than the entire Jacksonville team up until that last drive where they scored that touchdown. Because they had only 151 yards of total offense until that drive, where it was a 68-yard drive to score to get to 21 points. But literally, he was doing fantastic. Like I said, there's only 204 yards passing. Brown had 95 of those yards on 5 catches, and Goddard had 5 catches also for 72 yards. Both didn't have a touchdown because we didn't throw for a touchdown, but it doesn't matter. We wound up taking care of business and get the win, 29-21. I was a little wondering why. On that last touchdown, that he decided to go for a 2-point conversion. I can assume that they were just talking about how bad the field condition must have been and the way that the wind was blowing, that he didn't think he could make the extra point. And unfortunately, the 2-point conversion failed. It got them within 1 score once they scored that touchdown, because we were up by 9. And then, of course, we missed a 2-point conversion and they scored. It was up by 8. But ultimately, they never got a chance to score again, because the time they got the ball back, it was like it was slipping out of Trevor Lawrence's hands. I still love calling him Joey Lawrence. I was calling him Joey Lawrence the entire game yesterday, just to show a little fun that we were having with him. 401 total yards of offense in a very soggy day. And like I said, that 1 interception was the only turnover by us, which was great because that ball was very, very slippery. Just ask Trevor Lawrence, as he did not fare so well with that ball. And let's talk about his numbers real quick. He went 11 for 23 for 174 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 84.3 passer rating. He fumbled the ball 4 times. He accounted for all 5 of the turnovers that Jacksonville had. Winning the turnover battle was a very big game. And that 1 interception, I think it was Bradbury that got that interception, was very timely. Very timely. And he had him set up perfect. He just read it well. He had the guy played off well enough and then just went and took that ball. Had he not slipped, he probably would have scored. I would have hit a pick 6 because he was off to the races. But it's one of those things where doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They got the pick. They stopped that drive. Literally, it was they were about to score. It seemed because that was in the red zone, and Bradbury takes care of business, as well as that defense. Thinking about it on the defensive side, obviously they did pretty well. The first touchdown was on an interception, so you can't really blame that on the defense. The defense really scored that 1 touchdown, and then the defense only let up that 1 touchdown, and then of course they wound up scoring that last touchdown on that last drive. That like I said, was for 68 yards. That accounted for really a third of their offense all day long. Literally, like I said, they had 219 total yards of offense. They only rushed for 71 yards, and everything else was in the air on that regard. A couple other notables that I wanted to mention: 4 sacks by the defense, which is very good because Jacksonville hadn't let up a sack. They had not let up a sack at all. So to let up 4 sacks, 2 by Han Reddick. So that was really good day today. And like I said, 2 strip sacks, getting that ball out of his hands. He just couldn't seem to hold on to that ball at all. Even when he went on a a quarterback sneak, slipped out of his hands. He was having a tough time with that ball all day long. But anyways, the other things that I wanted to mention is that they had obviously the 5 turnovers. They only went 2 for 7 on third down. And I was wondering why they had so many, didn't have so many third down opportunities. Well, the reason why is because they kept fumbling the ball. So two for 2 for 7 on third down conversions, 0 for 1 on the fourth down conversions. We went 3 for 5 on fourth down. So we went for it a couple of times. There was only 3 punts in this game by both teams. So obviously, they were going for it. Dougie went for it one time, but he didn't really get a chance to go very often. They only had 13 first downs in total. And what was it? 46 offensive plays. The time of possession in this game, the Eagles had for 40 minutes to Jacksonville's 20. 40 minutes. So literally, everything was just going pretty well for the Birds in the rain after the first quarter. If it was only into the first quarter, Jacksonville definitely would have won that game. But luckily, there's 3 other quarters behind it, and we wind up taking care of business, winning this game 29-21. So literally doing some great work out there. And of course, still the only undefeated team in the league right now at 4-0. Jacksonville goes to 2-2, and I think they are now tied for first place in the division. But Jacksonville actually I think, played pretty well. This game, like I said, it was a sloggy mess. Thank God we have drainage, unlike they do in Chicago, where it was played in a fishbowl. I felt that this game had me a little nervous on the start, not just because of the interception or anything. I just thought that Dougie P knew some of his players really well and knew where to attack some of our weaknesses. Uh, that being said, we wind up taking care of business and doing the things that we do best, running the football. Might wind up getting hurt very early. Slay got hurt fairly early, so they did not play past the first quarter. And that means Driscoll wound up playing tackle for most of the game. And he did a pretty good job. Obviously, they only let up 2 sacks in this game. Jalen Hurts did not have to run for his life very much, but that was because they were running the ball pretty frequently. So I think when all was said and done, we had close to 190 some yards of rushing offense. And I think we are up at 201 yards of offense rushing, but excuse me. What wound up happening is those 3 plays at the end were -1. Actually, we had 210 total yards rushing. So, literally, we had more yards rushing than we did passing, which was to be expected. Obviously, it was very rainy. It was ugly out there, but yes, Jason Kelsey did have a great game yesterday. They were having a hard time hiking the ball. Now, of course, the center for Jacksonville, is a rookie, and they were doing a lot of drills off, when they were off the field, just making sure that they could continue to hike the ball. Like I said, he had 2 fumbles on like sneaks where he lost the ball going into it, and 2 fumbles on the strip sacks. So 4 fumbles on the day by Lawrence. There was a 5th one that was done by Etienne, who they wind up recovering, but they just had a hard time holding the ball, and we could hold the ball, which was very important. And like I said, those snaps are really important to be able to do. You want to make sure that they get it in their hands and they have control of it. And luckily, they had all of that happening at once. Was a great game by the Eagles in total. Another good team win, as we need. And like I says, this is what happens when you are an undefeated team. You have to beat the teams that you're playing against. Obviously, being 4-0, we played against the Vikings, who are 3-1. Jacksonville Jaguars are now 2-2, and the Washington football team is 1-3. They're at the bottom of our division. So we just taking care of business. Next week on to Arizona, and we go over and take care of business out there. Stay undefeated. Around the NFL, the other games that happened, Minnesota winds up beating the Saints over there in England. That was in the 9:30 game. They wind up winning 28-25. The Saints had a 61-yard field goal that double doinked. They went to try to tie the game at the end. It did not make it, and the Vikings come away with the victory. Los Angeles Chargers get back on the winning side of things as they go to 2-2, as they beat the Texans and keep them winless, 34-24. Eckler scoring 3 touchdowns in that one. The Giants, no passing touchdowns from Daniel Jones, but he did score 2 times, and he did hurt his ankle. But they wind up holding off the Bears to go to 3-1 in the division. Obviously they are third in the division because they lost to the Cowboys, but they wind up beating the Bears 20-12 as the Bears fall to 2-2 as well. In the high-scoring game of the day, the Seattle Seahawks outlast the Detroit Lions 48-45. At first, I thought that the Lions actually had a fairly good team, and it just seems that they can't seem to stop opposing offenses. They can score points, but it's hard to outscore somebody when you are getting 48 points scored against you. And Seattle, double digits in all 4 quarters. Smith looking like a superstar over there with 48 points. Like I said, they go to 2-2 in the division, 2-2, and the Lions drop to 1-3. Like I said, 48-45. Lots of points scored in that game. The Jets beat the Steelers. The Steelers are really starting to reel here. When they lost their Watt, from their defense, you knew that was going to be an issue, that their defense was going to be their strength. It's still the better part of their team, but they just can't seem to get it together on offense. Mitch Trubisky does not seem to be doing it. Pickett was out there playing in this game as well. Zach Wilson, first time back all year long, and he winds up getting the win. They score 14 points in the fourth quarter, and 14 points. The last one. What happened there? Fumbled into the end zone for a touchdown, and wind up winning this game 24-20 to go to 2-2, and the Steelers drop to 1-3. Doesn't look like a good season for the Steelers as of yet. The Falcons outlast the Browns. The Browns just trying to tread some water here until they get their real quarterback back. Obviously, Watson doesn't come back until week 11, and the Falcons take care of what they need to by winning this game 3-20. Both of those teams are 2-2, and the Cleveland Browns, even at 2-2, are leading the division right now because the Ravens lost yesterday. We'll get to that in just a few seconds. The Tennessee Titans, they outlast the Indianapolis Colts 24-17. Derrick Henry had 114 yards and a touchdown. They wind up beating the Colts, who are at 1-2-1. Frank Reich is on the hot seat right now. I knew Matt Ryan was not going to be as good as he said, as advertised that they thought he was going to be. I knew he wasn't going to be the guy over there, and he's just having a hard time getting the ball out and getting any long passes. He can only do those short passes anymore, which is a shame because Matty Ice was a good quarterback, obviously led Atlanta to a Super Bowl where they lost, but obviously played in a Super Bowl. He did have the skills. He just doesn't have them anymore. He's just too old. The Dallas Cowboys and Cooper Rush, never lost as a starter, continues to win. He beats the Washington Commanders 25-10. I'm just going to look at the stats real quick here to see how Carson Wentz did. 2 INTs right up his alley, 2 sacks, 1 touchdown. quarterback rating of a 56.6. That sounds like the Carson Wentz I know. And they couldn't run the ball either. Obviously, the Cowboys' defense is what's been winning these games. It's not been Cooper Rush. He's been able to manage these games well enough to win, but it's the defense really taking care of us over there for the Cowboys as they go to 3-1, and Washington drops down to 1-3. They're still looking up the Eagles' skirts though, because everybody 4-0, baby. Another game that I said at with a last-second win, the Buffalo Bills beat the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore, coming back 17 points down to win this game. With the field goal in the last seconds to win 23-20. They are at 3-1, where the Ravens are 2-2, tied with Cleveland for the division lead in the AFC Central, and the Bills are tied with Miami for the lead in the AFC East. Later games, the Arizona Cardinals beat the Carolina Panthers. I didn't really think that was even a thing. You know what I mean? I thought that they were going to win this game. Murray has 2 touchdown passes, rushed for 1. He's about to come see us. Scores 16 points in the fourth quarter. Needed all 16 of those points. Carolina tried to make it close, but it just didn't seem to work. They wind up winning this 26-16. They go to 2-2 as the Panthers drop to 1-3. The Denver Broncos. Now, I have known, if you've been listening to any one of my shows, I've been telling you that the Denver Broncos are frauds. They are frauds, that this quarterback does not know how to play anymore. He should have retired. That this is, these quarterbacks, these old quarterbacks, when Brady moves and he goes and wins a Super Bowl, all these other quarterbacks thinking they're able to do the same thing. Ain't happening. Ain't it? Russell Wilson winds up getting this monster contract, and now they are really wondering if he's that guy, because he's not able to do it. And the Raiders go ahead and get their first win, and 32-23. Broncos drop to 2-2 on the year, and I expect that that's going to continue to drop because, like I said, the Chiefs are still the class of that division. I think that the Chargers are going to make the playoffs. I think that the Raiders lost the best things that they had when they lost their coach and they got rid of their GM. And you could say whatever you want, Raiders Nation. Yeah, I believe what I believe, and you can believe however you want to believe, but you're 1-3 right now, and the only team that you beat right now, I believe, is our frauds. So Denver Broncos, I expect to see more losses on their side. That this was touted as the best division in football. Not happening. And like I said, Raiders win 32 for their first win to 23 over the Broncos. A game where I thought, obviously, happened in this game, the Packers and the Patriots. First off, Hoyer gets hurt, and they have to bring in their third-string quarterback. So he winds up finishing the rest of that game. Aaron Rodgers throws his 500th touchdown pass. So that all happened. But they wind up going into overtime. Even in the midst of all that, they wind up going to overtime, and the Packers outlast the Patriots. The Patriots go to 1-3, the bottom of the AFC East. I gotta imagine Belichick is not real happy right now, but you got to play with the quarterbacks that you have. And unfortunately, when you're playing with a rookie quarterback, the fact that you were able to keep them in the game this well was good. Rodgers, I don't think, had a great game in this one. I know that I watched him throw pick 6, but he also threw his 500th touchdown pass. So congratulations to him. I think he's one of a few people that have 500 touchdown passes. So, but they wind up winning this game, and like I said, they go to 3-1 on the year. The Patriots drop to 1-3 on the year. And the 8:00 game, which I did not watch at all, but seemed to be like a pretty good game, was the Kansas City Chiefs beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 41-31. This game, as I was listening to it in the car, the very first play of the game, I think they fumbled, or like it was on the kickoff. They fumbled, and the Chiefs scored a touchdown in like less than a minute's time, and they kept going, 41-31 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, and they go to 3-1 as Tampa Bay then now goes to 2-2 in that division. But everybody else stinks in that division, so they're still in first place. It doesn't matter. Tom Brady's still got to figure out score some points. 31 points. Obviously, let's see his stats for the day. I didn't know. There we go. Patrick Mahomes went 23 of 37 for 249, 3 touchdowns and an INT, where Brady 39 for 52. I guess they didn't rush the ball. You could tell they didn't rush the ball. Fournette ran for -3 yards, and White ran for 6 yards. So they had 6 total rushes. They were throwing the ball every play. 39 for 52, 3 touchdowns. Yeah, and his passer rating, is it going to give it to me? No, it's like, he fumbled the ball once. That ain't going to give me his passer rating. It doesn't want to show me that. So, anyways, doesn't matter. Like I said, it's Tom Brady. We'll wind up seeing him later. He's going to wind up winning that division because everybody else in that division stinks out loud. So, Tampa Bay is going to wind up. And they only have a pretty good defense. Obviously, they got Tom Brady in there. Evans came back his suspension. I know that he scored a touchdown. So, that all being said, it was the defense. The defense is a part of their game, Chris. As I'm seeing you, Tampa has no running game, obviously, as they got 0 yards, or I think they got 3 yards in total rushing offense. And their defense is supposed to be the strongest team. We will see. We'll see what happens. And I expected Andy Reid to win that game. This was like payback for the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, as I kind of expected what was going to happen here. But both teams definitely, it's still early in the season, and they both got things that they need to fix. But like I said, one's 3-1, the other one's 2-2. Both lead their divisions, so I expect to see both of those teams in the playoffs moving forward here. All right, let's take a quick commercial break because there's still a lot more to talk about. We're going to talk about the Phillies. We're going to talk about the Union. We're going to talk about the Flyers, and smells like basketball season. And there's a game that's happening today that everybody may pay a little bit of attention to. So let's come back after these commercial messages, and we can talk all about it. Stay tuned.
welcome to the Everyday GSD podcast. Today's special guest. Welcome to the Military Podcast. A true everyday.
It's the man of the job. It's the man of anything. Success is based on participation. So I participate daily.
Daily, yeah.
For those who don't know, it's Cold War era.
Anybody wants to hear anything I have to say, but you and I have a lot of great conversations.
Everyday GSD is more than just a podcast. It's a movement. It's a way of life. The show's guests come from all walks of life and all have the same everyday get shit done mentality in common. Many are former military special operators who are now everyday GSDing in their civilian life. Others are civilians who get shit done on a daily basis. Veteran, prior military, the goal is to motivate and inspire through like-minded guests sharing epic life stories. Ultimately, what we want the audience to realize is every day is an opportunity to get up and get shit done. My name is Darren Bebo, and I everyday GSD.
This is Jonica, and I everyday GSD.
My name is Mike Rebell, and I everyday GSD.
This is Jeffrey Barnett, and I everyday GSD.
This is Wojo, and I everyday GSD.
This is Jake, and I everyday GSD.
My name is Hannah Gaber, and I everyday GSD.
This is Rachel, and I everyday GSD.
My name's Keith Dixon, and I everyday GSD.
My name's Kyle McCord, and I everyday GSD.
I mean, you can see right now, without LeBron, Lakers are struggling.
Let me tell you about a team I hate, all right? I know the Dallas Cowboy fan is here, so I had to make sure he knew how much I hate this team.
I'm ready. I've often said that the people who run baseball, they try very hard to ruin it.
I'm from Brooklyn. I don't have a problem saying it to his face. Oh, I'm from Brooklyn. Hey, get any...
And we are back. And just to let everybody know, I wanted to make sure to get this out. We're going to start it today. I mentioned this week, but if you're going out to Arizona, you want to come to the first ever PSG Charity Open. We're playing miniature golf. We're going to be going to the Glow Putt Mini Golf Center over on Shea Boulevard in Scottsdale, Arizona. Hollis Thomas is going to be there. Instagram model Sam Draper in attendance. Not only are you going to be going there to go play some mini golf, but we're going to have a quick little after party over at the 92nd Street Cafe. We're going to give out a couple of drinks to everybody who's in attendance, and everybody who shows up is going to have the opportunity to win a Jason Kelce autographed football. So come on down, good cause, all benefiting the Eagles Autism Foundation. And we're going to have a lot of fun out in Arizona as we take over that whole area and that stadium for Sunday's football as the only undefeated team in the NFL converge into Phoenix as we take care of the Cardinals, as it's a battle of the birds. And, of course, them ugly red birds are going down. And we're going to see an old friend again, Zach Ertz, who scored a touchdown yesterday. Zach Ertz is going to be there. Obviously, he's their tight end. So we're going to see what happens as the birds fly to Arizona. And I know that I'm bringing 200 of my closest friends. There's a lot of other people heading down there. This is the trip of the year. We're going to go down there, and we'll come back out of that 5-0, as I fully expect. Also, another thing I want to mention to you guys, tomorrow night at Dolan's Bar, I do Philly Sports Guy Trivia. Come on out, have a drink. Let's the Phillies play, as we are getting Red October is coming. I said it was coming. It's coming, and we're about to talk about it here. Last thing I want to mention real fast, I'm going to leave this up here for the remainder of the show. Vote for me on the Face of Horror. I am number 6 right now. The voting stops, I think, in the next couple of days. That is for the B Plus Foundation. They are the largest donors to families that are dealing with pediatric cancer. They give out money so that these people can stay in different locations, that they have money for bills and food as the parents are having a hard time dealing with their child going through all different types of pediatric cancers. And a real cause. And like I said, you get to vote for me, and I could be in the next horror flick where you can watch the Philly sports guy make it to the end of that horror flick and get to kill the bad guy. You know you want that. You know you want that because there ain't nothing scarier than a Philadelphia sports fan. Anyways, moving forward here, I said we're going to be heading down to Arizona. But during that time, the Phillies, let's talk about the Phillies a little bit, shall we? Phillies, first off, since the last time you guys saw me, and, I apologize, I didn't come out on Wednesday. I didn't do my show on Wednesday, and I didn't do any shows. Or I did a show on Wednesday, but I didn't do it on Thursday or Friday this weekend. Like I said, it was a tough week for me, as some of you guys may have read that my brother passed away very suddenly this week. So we've been dealing with some of those details. So unfortunately, I probably will not have a show this Wednesday morning, as we're going to, have to deal with that with the family as we put him into the ground. Unfortunately, a great guy. He has my older brother, so 58 years old, gone very too young. And I wanted to mention that to you guys. So I will not be having a show on Wednesday, but I will be back on for the remaining part of the week, Thursday, Saturday, from Arizona. But so last time you guys spoke to me, the Phillies were getting swept by the Cubs, which 0-6 against the Cubs this year. Really, the Cubs aren't a very good team. Don't tell them, because they beat the Phillies pretty good. That being said, at the end of that, the magic number was 6 games. Then we took 3 of 4. Actually, it was 7 games. I'm sorry. We took 3 of 4 from the Washington Nationals. And we have to send a gift basket down to the Florida Marlins because they took 3 of 4 in Milwaukee. So now the magic number is 1 game. 1 game. Phillies, just so they give you all the scores from the Phillies games on Friday night. They were supposed to play a doubleheader. They only got one of those games in. The Phillies win that game 5-1. They start off the doubleheader Saturday. It was drizzling. They were going to force these games in as best as possible. Phillies lose game 2, 13-4. They win the second part of that doubleheader 8-2. And then yesterday in 6 innings, they win that game 8-1. So we wind up smashing Washington in the entire series. I think that they won, what was it, 15? They went 15-4 against the Nationals this year. So literally, if you want to get your team right, you go play against the Nationals. Interestingly enough, that's who the Mets will be playing here coming forward. And like I said, the Marlins took 3 of 4 from Milwaukee, 2 of which very like the last couple of innings, they wind up beating them, scoring a couple of runs in the 9th inning. So like I said, make sure to send your gift baskets down to the Marlins, where we actually had their number this year. It's the other way around. The Marlins are usually beating us all the time, but they wind up taking care of business, and we wind up thanking them because of it. That being said, so our magic number is at 1. All we need to do is win 1 game, and we are in the playoffs. And we start tonight with Nola. He's going to be pitching up against the Astros. And who's he going up against today? I want to say he's going up against McCullers, who is, as it pulls it up here, it's going very slow. There we go. He's 4-1. He's only got 41 innings pitched. 45 strikeouts in that, and a 2.38 ERA. Aaron Nola's 10-13, 336 ERA, 226 Ks. So we're going to need to take care of business, win 1 of these games. That being said, I want to talk about what happened with the Mets and the Braves. The Mets pooped the bed. They pooped the bed. So right now, the Braves have a 2-game lead and the tiebreaker. So right now, the Braves' magic number to win the division is also one game. That's all they have to do. They are playing against the Red Hot Marlins, who just put a big damper in Milwaukee's playoff chances. Yeah, could they do it against Braves? I don't know. I think the Braves are playing some really good ball right now. The Mets go down. They're down now. They got the top wild card spot, but are down by the division in 2 games. They need to sweep. And they're going to need to sweep the. Do I have them here? The Washington Nationals. So they got to play the Nationals, and the Braves play the Marlins. So it has to be sweeps by both the Mets and the Marlins for them to win the division. I think Atlanta's got this worked out here. I can't really say that this is like the 2007 demise, because obviously the Mets are going to make the playoffs. In 2007, they did not make the playoffs. So the Mets are going to still be in the playoffs, and they're going to be that top wild card seed. But now when you check the wild card standings, right now, Padres hold a 1-game lead for that second spot. So what does that mean in the grand scheme of things? Padres have a home game series against the Giants, and they also, their magic number to get the number 2 spot is 2 wins. They need to get 2 wins. The Phillies hold the tiebreaker against the Padres too. So if by chance we are tied at the end of this, we're going to wind up playing the Mets in the wild card. 3 games, New York. I would much rather, me personally, I would much rather play the Cardinals and go to St. Louis for 3 games, because the Mets have had our number all year long. But we're going to play who we're going to play. So we'll see what absolutely happens there. But like I said, Mets falling out of grace, losing the division, leading the division all year long, losing it at the end. And like I says, all Atlanta's got to do is win 1 game, and they clinch the division. And like I said, the Padres got to do their thing. The Padres have, like I said, 3 games against the Giants. The Brewers are playing the Diamondbacks. The Phillies are playing the Astros, and Atlanta's playing the Marlins. So lots going on there. I fully expect that we'll have an answer here within the next 2 days. The Diamondbacks aren't necessarily a bad team. Who are they? Let me see who's pitching for the Diamondbacks today up against the Brewers. And it is, this guy's got a 6 ERA, so there ain't nothing special happening there. He's 3-4, 40 innings pitched, and 31 strikeouts and 19 walks. So I expect that Brandon Woodruff, who is 13-4 with a 3.05 ERA, he's going to win their game. But all the Phillies got to do is take 1. All we got to do is win 1 game, and we clinch a red October. So unless the Astros come out and sweep us, and the Brewers sweep the Diamondbacks, both are possible. Red October is coming here very, very soon, and it will be very exciting. I wouldn't mind seeing them go. I wouldn't mind seeing them going up to New York, because I know that we would be able to get some Philly fans up there. St. Louis, it's going to be a lot of red anyway, so you wouldn't be able to tell Phillies fans from Cardinals fans. I just think it's going to be a lot easier place for us to play in St. Louis than it will in New York. But let's see what happens, because obviously the Braves smacked around both DeGrom and Scherzer to win these games. So it's anything could happen. Anything could happen come moving forward here. But I'm fully expecting. We said the Red October was coming. The hunt for Red October was on, and we found him. And it's going to be 1 game to get in there, and let's take care of business. Let's talk about another team that is headed towards the playoffs, and really they were doing fantastic. They had a down game for this one. The Philadelphia Union, went to the Charlotte FC down in Charlotte and got taken advantage of. I mean, I'm not sure if they just weren't feeling it, if they just weren't ready for this game. They wind up losing this game 4-0, very un-Union like. Literally, Blake letting up 4 goals is, something on its own. They've only let up 22 goals this year up before this game. So literally 20% of the goals that they've given up this season happened in this game. And like I said, you're always going to have a down game, losing 4-0. Daniel Rios for Charlotte scores all of the goals. And I know that nobody, if you've gone to soccer and you know about soccer, it's going to be, moves fairly slow. Score 2 goals is good. A hat trick of goals is great. 4 goals in a game is absolutely amazing, and that's what he had. He had a very memorable day, scoring 4 goals against the Union. The Union, because of this, is likely not going to win the Supporter Shield, and really all that means is that if everybody holds serve in the playoffs, that we will have to go to LAFC for the championship game. If LAFC does not make it to the finals, the Union will wind up playing at home for that, but that's the only team that they will have to go away for in the playoffs. Everybody's got to, the MLS playoffs are going through Philadelphia. And like I said, we only have 1 game left. And let's take care of business there and wind up getting ready for the playoffs. And the playoffs finals would wind up happening, after we come back from Houston, when the Eagles take care of business against the Texans. That's on a Thursday night football. That Sunday would be the MLS Cup. So we could be wind up seeing the Union, and if the whole city would be around and ready for a championship in the MLS soccer. So we're looking excited. We're getting excited for that. Like I said, they had a down game. They're allowed to have one. They lose 4-0 to Charlotte. Charlotte's not even, I think they're maybe a fringe playoff team. They might need a lot of help to get in there, but ultimately 4-0. Wind up losing. And one of the things that I was mentioning there, Wagner winds up getting a red card, 2 yellow cards, winds up getting a red card. So when that happens, it was 11-10 for the last 20 minutes of that game. And, ultimately that makes it a lot harder to score goals when you're down a man. It's like being on a power play for 20 minutes. So it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. And they wind up, Charlotte winds up winning that game. The Flyers played a couple of games this weekend. I know that nobody really likes to hear about the Flyers very much at all, that they are not going to have the best team this year. And it's a shame because, the Flyers, the NHL is a much better product when the Flyers are doing well. The Flyers are not going to do very well this year. And it doesn't matter how well Tortorella tries to coach this team. They just do not have the talent to be able to do anything real well. So they wind up getting beat by Boston 4-0 on Saturday, and then 2-1 by the Isles yesterday. So they have not been doing very well. But again, not the biggest deal. It's only preseason. The regular season starts January 13th. I believe we have one more preseason game against the Islanders, and then we start January 13th, October 13th, against the New Jersey Devils. So we'll look to see what happens there as we move forward. And today, this evening, there is another team that's playing. It's that time of year. And this is one of these rare times when all of the teams are playing within a 24-hour or 48-hour time span. And today, the 76ers start their preseason against Ben Simmons. That's right. You're going to see Ben Simmons in a basketball uniform. He's going to be out there, and hopefully he doesn't get hurt. But they're playing up in Brooklyn, so I expect he'll be fine. He's going to finally play against the Sixers in the first preseason game of the year. The Brooklyn Nets are hosting the Philadelphia 76ers in preseason action. That game starts at 7:30 tonight. I'm sure somebody's going to be showing it. So I know that everybody is interested in seeing, one, what Ben Simmons looks like in a Brooklyn Nets uniform. Two, he's going to shoot the ball at all. I'd be willing to bet that it's preseason. He's going to hit 5 3-pointers, or at least try to shoot 5 3-pointers, just because he wants to, think it's going to be a joke, think it's going to be funny. Haha. But so either way, that's going to be interesting to watch as we move forward here. The preseason action begins. They start the regular season here in a couple of weeks. Flyers are starting. Red October's coming. I thank you, Andrew, to let me know that Gallen is on the mound tomorrow. That's where we're going to expect to get our win. I think that we're going to wind up beating the Astros tonight. I think that Nola takes care of business. The bats a little hot from yesterday, and they wind up beating the Astros, who are really not playing for much of anything at all. They're probably going to have this starter. They wanted to get him some pitches. I expect that he'll go 4 or 5 innings, and that's it. They're going to pull him out and get him rest for the playoffs moving forward here. That they are just going through some motions here. They want to make sure to leave this series healthy and have everybody ready to go once they get to the playoffs. And they're obviously got the number 1 seed in the AL. So they're going to wind up playing whoever bottom part of the wild card, which could very well be. I don't even check the other wild cards when I was going through all that stuff. Let's see who's in the wild card for the American League. The Blue Jays, the Mariners, and the Rays. It looks like the Mariners, they're a game and a half up with obviously 3 games left against the Rays, that they are. Yeah, okay. The Orioles are out, absolutely out. All right, because it doesn't have them has a mark next to them saying that they are out. So it looks like it's going to be the Rays against the Guardians and the Mariners against the Blue Jays, as the Mariners break a 31-year drought or something like that, and they get into the playoffs, all off of that rookie J-Rod. So J-Rod, signed there for a long time. He's going to be doing pretty well over there. Gets them into the playoffs as they go up there. And they Rays, obviously they are a team that, one, seems to always be in the playoffs. Two, have the pitching to be able to sustain being in the playoffs. The Cleveland Guardians also have really good pitching. That's going to be a very interesting matchup. And of course, the bottom team who wins that is going to wind up playing the Astros, who've got 104 wins. And I think that they are, let's see. The Dodgers have 110 wins. Wow. So the Dodgers are the best team in baseball right now, followed by the Astros. But that all being said, I am excited for Red October, and I hope that we go against the Cardinals, because I think that we have a better shot against the Cardinals, and then we will go and play the Dodgers. And I actually like our chances against the Dodgers. For some reason or another, the Phillies love hitting the in LA. So it's I'm hoping that the Padres hold serve and the Phillies hold serve, and that we get into the playoffs, and that the Padres hit the number 2 wild card, we stay the number 3, and we go up against St. Louis. Not that I don't think that we can beat the Mets. It's going to be a lot harder to beat the Mets, as they've been in our head. I think we've won 5 games. We are 5-14 against them this year. So it's going to be tough to win 2 out of 3 up there, especially going up against DeGrom and Scherzer. But anything is feasible. Anything is possible. So let's get in there first and then worry about where we're going to be. I want to go see the Cardinals, because I think after we beat the Cardinals, we have a really good chance of beating LA. And that maybe those beat LA chants are going to come back again. Beat LA. Beat LA. We haven't heard that since Boston in 1981, I think it was. I lost to them in the finals. But like I said, lots of things happening in Philadelphia sports. It was a great weekend. Only undefeated team in football. The only undefeated team in football. And not that that's a big deal because it's only 4-0. If it was 8-0, then it's a whole different scenario. And all these people that saying that we're beating soft teams, Jacksonville had a winning record. Minnesota has got a winning record. Don't listen to them. Those guys are just crying because they aren't undefeated. That's how that works. I get tons of hate all the time. So, exactly. Well, the 1983 Phillies, they did beat LA, but that beat LA chant came from that was the Sixers versus the Celtics in Game 7, and it was up in Boston. And the Boston crowd at the end of that game, when they knew that it was lost and the Sixers won that game, were doing chants of "Beat LA, beat LA," and that was one of those things. It's one of those moments in time. I mean, obviously I was alive for it, and I watched it on television, and it was such an amazing thing to listen to Boston, a Boston crowd, cheer on the Sixers, because the enemy of our enemy is our friend, and that's kind of how that worked. Unfortunately, we did not win that series, but it was one of those times where you can just, it still gives me chills when I think about that, where it's just like a whole nother crowd cheering on for a team to try to beat another team. And that was just an amazing time, an amazing thing that happened. And we lost, obviously, because Magic Johnson, maybe the best playoff series of all time against that. But to hear those chants, and that's what I'm going to be thinking about after the Phillies take care of business and we win in the playoffs. We're going to go to LA, and like I said, that "Beat LA" chants are going to be going nuts. I'm going to pull it out of the archives, and I'm going to be making videos and doing all that fun stuff, because it's going to be a lot of fun to watch Red October kill the blue dawn over there in LA. They think that they're all big and bad, but we beat them a lot. We beat them pretty handily this year, and I'm interested to play them again. Obviously, it was early in the season. It's going to be interesting to see us moving forward here and getting this all taken care of. Let's say, got to get in there first. Let's take care of business, win today, rest everybody up, and get ourselves together for either the Mets or for the Cardinals. And let's take care of business. Got to do that. As we get all excited, I'd love to see us beat 2 Cardinals in one day. On Sunday, that would absolutely happen. We would wind up playing the Cardinals. I think it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if it went to Game 3, the Eagles would be playing the Arizona Cardinals, and the Phillies would be playing the St. Louis Cardinals. Be great to kill two Cardinals in one. That'd be a lot of fun, and it's going to be very exciting. A lot of excitement happening here. I said the Flyers start on the 13th against the Devils. Sixers starting preseason. They're going to get started here at the end of the month. It's all coming together. It's all coming together. So, everybody, thank you very much for hanging with me today. I really do appreciate it. We are going to be back again tomorrow morning. It's only back to a half-hour show where I'm going to be talking about everything that happened yesterday. Obviously, we're going to be watching some Ben Simmons. We're going to be watching, the Phillies take care of business against the Astros. That's a little bit of a later start today. I want to say that it is an 8:10 start. So come on and hang out tomorrow. We're going to be doing trivia over at Dolan's Bar. So come out, watch the Phillies. If they don't win today, they'll definitely win tomorrow. I have no doubts in my mind that we finish up this season strong, and we go into the playoffs hungry, because it's time to eat. And I want some Red October. But everybody, thank you very much for hanging with me. And as always, go. Yeah. Please make sure to vote for me for the Faces of Horror. I really appreciate it. And donate whatever you can to the B+ Foundation. Thanks again, guys. Take care.